Mm. What do we have here? What do we have here? Man, Bitcoin, what a start. What a start to October. Baby, can it just be like this? How about we just have it be like this for the entire month, and then November and December same deal, except that Bitcoin dominance would go down and altcoins would go crazy. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. There's no way. When's the last time we've had a week like this? Maybe November of 2024, maybe something like that. But I don't know, man. This is wacky. It's wild. Yeah, maybe November of 2024. And okay, all right. It can't just keep going like this. I'm sorry. It can't. So Bitcoin got up to close to $124,000 on Friday, and we're seeing some things. Listen, I'm very bullish. I'm very bullish for October, and we are moving. We have moved into certain territories with different indices, and I'm excited about that. I'm jacked. Now, but all right, all right. Maybe there's something we have to work through here. And what do we have to work through? I mean, a 4 hour, a bearish divergence on the 4 hour chart for Bitcoin. You could see the price went higher, and of course, the RSI put in a lower high, and so I am right now in a short. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't kill the messenger. I mean, I guess I'm the messenger and the deliverer. I'm the guy saying this. I'm in a short on Bitcoin. But this is not a swing trade. Ooh, no. This is a scalp. It's a scalp. It makes sense after a week like this, after seeing what we've seen. It makes sense to me that we would see Bitcoin come down a little bit, just a little bit down to earth, a little bit. What's going on with my trading view here? Trying to pull up the Bollingers. Okay, my trading view is kind of acting kind of weird. Oh, I know what's going on. All right, give me a second. Let me show you the Bollingers. All right, Bollingers. We're that's on the 4 hour chart. On the daily, we're well beyond. And so, I mean, you can see other times we've been beyond, including July when we just kept on going up for a while. At some point, we're gonna have to back test at least the middle end of the Bollinger Bands, but probably the lower end at some point. Not right now, okay? But at some point, I would expect middle of the Bollingers to move up and maybe get to 116, 117, 118. That'd be a good floor for October to commence or to resume, I guess. I don't know. And for a dip buying opportunity for me to close my short on Bitcoin. All right. So that's really the only negative that I'm going to, and it's not even a negative. I mean, like, I'm not a bear. I'm just taking opportunities where I see it. So if I get liquidated on my 1x short, it's a 1x short. Do you know what that means? That means that Bitcoin's like $240,000. Okay. All right. The Russell 2000. Let me turn up this rain real quick. The Russell 2000 has hit a new all-time high. Now, I'm assuming I'm making this on Friday. You're going to watch it on Saturday, most likely, unless you're a member to the channel. You like that rain? I hope it's soothing. So the Russell 2000 is exactly where we want it to be. And, what does this mean for those of you who have never been on this channel? That means we're seeing increasing breadth in the market, more of a desire to be risk on, more of a desire to find those 100x gems in the stock market, 100x's, where most of them are not, they're just going to zero. A lot of them are, but some of them, maybe some AI companies, people are finding opportunities, looking for opportunities to invest in some of those smaller stocks, hoping for those massive gains. And all we're doing right now is just bouncing off the 20-day EMA. And even if we were to lose that on a daily candle and get down to the 50 or 100-day EMA, it's still game on. So, I mean, don't fight the trend. This looks very bullish. This is very bullish, and it's a good sign for our altcoins because you know what else happens? Usually the same day when the Russell 2000 breaks out, The total altcoin market cap does the same thing. And so, all right, total 2 got up, broke the 2021 peak, and of course that's a little bit of resistance, but I wouldn't be surprised if you were watching this later throughout the weekend or early next week, which I don't know why any of you would watch this early next week, but we'll be on the other side of that. I have a lot of confidence in that. Aside from maybe since I'm in a short on Bitcoin and it makes sense to be short on Bitcoin, that we would put one little dip in here and then break through. Okay. All right. So that's kind of my mindset right now. Maybe I'm going to lose money on this short. You never know. Maybe we're just going to keep on going higher. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum's a little bit ahead of my projection. Not that I'm complaining. So I was drawing this according to a Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic. And you can see that, yeah, okay, I mean, we don't have to follow the exact plan for the reaccumulation schematic, but I mean, it's looking pretty good right now that we're just we're moving along, and new all-time high in October is my expectation for Ethereum. Let's check out XRP, also kind of following along my projection a little bit ahead of a schedule. We did have, so what I thinking here is a little bit of resistance at this trend line, breakout, back test, boom. And if we zoom in a little bit, you can see on the 4-hour chart, we had exactly that. We had that a little bit of resistance, breakout, back test, and then we'll see where we go from here. So this is a little bit ahead of schedule. It doesn't have to stick with my plan specifically, although I would prefer XRP if you would get with the program and stick with my plan, and Ethereum stick with my plan. Because my plan, as long as it sticks with my plan, we're good to go. Some things from X, guys. Some things from X. We are bullish. Let's just say that. From a broader economic perspective, and then from a perspective of just different charts, we are bullish. And I know there's some people that are a little bit hesitant right now. And listen, I'm a little hesitant. I would love to see the total 2 actually break out this time. But the Russell doing what it's doing, that's a good sign. And I've been paying attention to this signal for a while. This is from Decode. This is the Decode MTO, the original and first macro indicator on this platform. He made it. You got to give him a follow. To correctly both predict and confirm this breakout, has confirmed the close of the first green monthly bar. That was September. With the second green monthly bar now open for business. Welcome to October. So we have this oscillator. It's not MACD. I know that looks like the MACD histogram. It is not. This oscillator, in my opinion, explains why altcoins have been so terrible over 2024, 2025. You know, everyone talking about, oh man, 2025 is going to be the year that all your wildest dreams come true. You're going to be a multi-millionaire. You're going to be so rich that money's going to be pouring out of your ears and your eyeballs. I don't know of anyone who said that. I'm being a little dramatic. But we've been behind. We have been this business cycle. If you look at manufacturing, but if you look at liquidity, we have been delayed. Which explains, yes, okay, Bitcoin can do what Bitcoin's doing, all right? Because of the halving, because of the ETFs. But altcoins, the reason why altcoins are not doing what they're doing is because of liquidity and the business cycle. All right, and we're still not there yet, but maybe we're going to be trending upward here in a little bit. So this is the business cycle. This is manufacturing. I've talked about this on this channel before, and I'm going to talk about it again. When business cycle up, risk on. When business cycle down, risk off. But when business cycle trend up, that's a really good time to buy altcoins. And I would say that we are trending up with manufacturing. So you combine all those things and you get this protracted red period where it did look like at the end of 2023 that we were going to make our way and it was going to be a normal, what people are used to when it comes to a 4-year halving cycle, which is really just focused on the business cycle. It's the halving cycle for Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a thing. But for altcoins, no. Why would altcoins be affected by the halving? That's the Bitcoin halving, It's always been a coincidence. And here we have a time where, okay, if we're going to go by past history, when we've broken green on this, we've had, all right, in 2017, pretty much all of 2017. And then it peaked at the end of 2017. So that's almost 12 months there. This is month 2. Is it going to be another year? It could be. I know that's crazy. Another 10 months, excuse me. I know that's crazy for you to think about. But I mean, look at where altcoins are. They're straight in the bear market. It could be that I am right now way too conservative, and maybe you are way too conservative and just thinking like, all right, end of 2025, I am thoroughly convinced that if your eggs are in that basket for the end of 2025, that you're going to be disappointed. But if you are open to this possibility that if we look at the business cycle and see where this can take us, that it might just be that altcoins would run a decent amount into 2026. It could happen. It might happen, guys. It happened in 2018. I know it was just January of 2018, but that might be the case. So it's okay. I mean, maybe, doesn't that sound good to you? I mean, it sounds good to me that for the next, let's say 10 months, and this really lines up with what I'm thinking with the stock market as well, that I think we have maybe 10 months to a year of stocks just melting faces. And I've laid out a case for that. So this, maybe it would apply for altcoins as well, or maybe we just have that big flush down in Bitcoin dominance and altcoins would be done, but then maybe Bitcoin wouldn't be done, maybe stocks wouldn't be done. This right here, So I think 2026 is going to take a lot of people by surprise. Maybe early 2026 will disappoint because of all the people who are married. It has to be 4 years. It has to be 4 years. They're gonna exit, jettison their bags, and maybe the first quarter of 2026 will be the working out of that. And then maybe after that, we'd be good to go. I don't know. Or maybe, selling may and go away. That tends to be a thing sometimes. Maybe it would just be the fourth quarter of 2026 or, going into the fourth quarter of 2026 where we see some really explosive moves and then it's over, I really want to hear what this rain sounds like. I think I'm going to make this a normal part of my channel. Let's move on. Quentin, mega moon boy. Don't listen to him sometimes. But and I'm sure he stole this chart from somebody. That's all he does. He steals charts. How many followers does this guy have? 218,000 followers, chart stealer. Chart stealer with 218,000 followers doesn't have an original thought, but I like this chart. I'm not high. Golden cross. What is the golden cross? Well, what's this chart here? It's others Bitcoin. All right, others Bitcoin. The others chart outside of the top 10. Top number 11 through 150. Others versus Bitcoin, and golden cross would be the 50-day moving average crossing over the 200-day moving average. And what do you see here? Post golden cross and others in comparison to Bitcoin after the golden cross was quite explosive in 2017. In 2025, what's the implication? Maybe, just maybe, others is going to do something very similar to that. There's still plenty of room to go higher for others. I tend to think that this is what's going to happen. All right, we're flirting with the 618 right now from the previous cycle peak. But, others is way behind total 2 and total 3. So if there's a little catch up, what would that look like? That would look like Ethereum breaking into price discovery, which I believe is going to happen this month. And then that would look like a rotation from Ethereum to other altcoins. You know, a lot of the top 10 have already hit new all-time highs, so maybe not those. Dogecoin and Cardano in the top 10, there's still they still need to catch up. They haven't come close to their all-time highs, and maybe they won't hit all-time highs. Maybe they will. I don't know. But, you know, here's Dogecoin. A lot of other cryptos, if others does what others tends to do on a golden cross, a lot of those cryptos can put in several X's. Seems like a good possibility. All right. So golden cross on others versus Bitcoin. Sounds good to me. Now, stock market wise, this is very, very much in line with what I'm thinking. But okay, be careful what you wish for. Josh, the Zennial trader, only 541 followers. I don't care. I saw some alpha on X, and I like the alpha. All right. So be careful what you wish for. Okay, you want to blow off top. All right. I mean, I want to blow off top too, but be careful what you wish for. Tops are never neat and tidy. Most of the people hoping for one don't get blown out before it happens, are put through the meat grinder after it happens. Imagine seeing the actual blow off top in March and subsequent major flush, and then seeing nothing but quick flushes, grinds, and short squeezes for another 6 months. What are we talking about here? So here's where he says we probably are. He's comparing now to the dot-com bubble to 1999, which is exactly what I've been doing. This is the S&P 500, exactly what I've been doing. So if we were to see a similar increased gain from this bottom right here to the peak, that would be the S&P 500 around $8,100, or sorry, 8,100 points. I know it's not dollars. Okay, but the peak to the peak, it took about 18 months. But look at all of this volatility in the dot-com bubble before the S&P 500 peaked. It was even crazier for the NASDAQ. All right, so a 25% gain for the S&P potentially is ahead of us, something like that. But, man, I mean, look at this. Look at whatever month that was. That was sell in May and go away. You know, you sold in May and went away. You bought back in September in the stock market, and then boom, you know, had one big rally to a peak in March, and then almost hit that all-time high in September of 2000, but then that was it. This might be what's ahead of us. This might be what the next 18 months looks like, where, yeah, there's gains, but lots of shenanigans, lots of craziness, lots of top calling, and then maybe a point where people just kind of think, you know what, we're just going to go up forever. And you would think, no, nobody's going to be thinking that. But, I mean, look at like all of this volatility, and then look at this last finishing move right here in the stock market, where it's like, you know, every one of these peaks is somebody's calling a top call. Even, you know, going back throughout the 90s, top call. You know, and then they give up. Now we're just going to go up forever. And then it's over. So is this what's ahead of us in the stock market? I tend to think so. So lots of craziness there. Dot-com bubble, plus 14% in 8 days. You know, arduous sideways grind and rally for 6 months. And then the last peak, and then boom, 4 months. 4 months of chaotic sell-off and face-ripping short squeezes. So long squeezes. I think that's wrong. It should say long squeezes. So something like that, in my opinion, is what we're facing. Where, all right, 18 months? No, not really. The peak came, and then it was a few more months of grind, and then dumped down. So what do we make of all of this? We make money, hopefully, and we make sure that we lock in our profits and then put them somewhere safe. What's safe? The dollar is not safe. The dollar is very, very much not safe. Maybe gold. If we do get something like a dot-com bust or Great Financial Crisis 2.0, in 2008, gold went down 30%, 35% during the Great Financial Crisis, and then it was just face melting. So it may be that I'll just put my gains into gold. You know, gold is a wonderful wealth preserver. We'll see. There's going to be plenty of options, and I'll be getting in and out of different plays, but that's my thought. So, hope you had a wonderful weekend, or have a wonderful weekend. It's been 20 minutes. I'm going to end it here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.